There is a sixth dimension beyond that which is known to man. A multiverse as vast as eternity, as timeless as the infinity gems. It is the middle ground between the big two and the indie publishers, between sci-fi and mysticism, and it lies between the pages of the reader's imagination. At the summit of entertainment, the dimension of comics, where a humble service is held. We call this service the Gospel of Comics.
All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Gospel of Comics. I am your host, The Church of Failure, and with me, as always, is my forever musically talented co-host, Ayrton McCartney.
Well, that's quite an introduction for me.
Well, I mean, it only took you three. It only took you 3.5 weeks to splice that audio file in because you were trying to import it incorrectly. Didn't say technically genius.
Hey, I didn't realize you had to click and hold on it.
Oh,
And, wait for it to do a little thing under your finger and then move it into the thing.
Oh,
it was all
right. Well, you got that going for you. Hello everyone in the chat. Danielle, Novel Bro, Knocked, Daniel, Inbricht.
Man, you guys got some weird names.
Hey, it's okay. I probably butcher half of them. It's fine.
Come on, Daniel. What kind of name is that?
That's right. Danielle. No, we have a Danielle and a Daniel. That's okay. I can accept that.
Symmetry. I like it.
Right. Stream suddenly just started. I was still waiting. What? Oh, okay. Just started suddenly. I was still waiting. The mobile. They're talking about mobile COD. I didn't even know there was a mobile COD unless you're talking about like a Switch. Is that a thing?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Has a battle royale function on it too? Jesus Christ! Battle royale games are trash. I like strategy games like Final Fantasy Tactics. Man, get off my lawn, you stinking kids, with your battle royale and your shrinking fighting space.
Now,
What was that?
Does chess count?
Chess? Yes. I actually enjoy
Okay.
playing chess.
Me too. I haven't played it in a while, but I do enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm the same. But anyway, we're not here to talk about chess.
Good strength.
We're not here to talk about chess. Dark Souls.
My
Yeah, we're not here to talk about chess. I don't know anything about Dark Souls except that it's ridiculously difficult and not my kind of game. So let's look at what we've got. We've got quite the extensive list of stuff to look at tonight. I'm not sure how long it's going to take us to get through it all. I don't even know that I've actually talked to you about all this because you know about the books we're looking at, but man, I've got some interesting stuff that's been going at New York Comic Con this week.
Really? Is it like an incel army of jokers, protesting against the women?
Not exactly. Weirder.
But I'm not...
More degenerate.
Shit.
Yeah. Weirder, more degenerate, more amusing in some cases. There's a lot. In tweets alone, I think I've got 8 tweets that I wanted to look at, and then there's a couple of articles and one off-topic article that I just wanted to look at. So,
all right.
I guess we leave it up to the chat, right? Do we start at the bottom or the top of the the list? I put them in order of best to weirdest, and with kind of a palate cleanser at the end. So it works either way. There are a couple of them in there, man.
Well, are we going to start there, or are we going to hit our reviews real quick?
No, I think we should save our reviews for the end. That's the way we've always kind of done it. We've always ended up with the reviews.
That's fair. Which, you're probably going to see us actually have a pretty big disagreement on one of these books this week.
Yeah.
That's happened in a while.
I may actually have to fire Ayrton. It depends on how much I had to drink by then. Uh, anyway, nobody said anything in the chat yet. I hope it's caught up by now, but I guess we'll just start at the top and work our way down the way I initially intended to.
Let's do it.
So, first tweet is by our beloved Ethan Van Sciver. Author of Cyberfrog, artist on Cyberfrog, lives in New Jersey, that's commonly known. That's not a dox, but he went to New York Comic Con because it's close. Also, a friend of the show, I believe, went to the New York Comic Con, Optic Decay. I've asked if he would mind calling in if he has the time. He said tentatively he may be able to tomorrow.
Okay.
But not a big berth of possibility there. It's just a sliver of hope. Don't get your hopes up, but I would love to talk to him about it, regardless of whether it's while he's there or after he's back.
Fair enough.
Anyway,
sorry. Quick aside. There's apparently somebody sent me today. There's apparently some sort of Comic-Con, pop culture convention, general nerd fest thing going on at a casino here in like mid-Michigan, like next month or something. Oh, where is it? Oh, Fantasticon.
Oh wow. Okay. Is that a weeb thing?
No. I have no idea.
Okay. Yeah, somebody tried to trick me into going into a weeb thing like last year, and I was just like, I don't do that.
Well, the other like flyer card thing has a picture of the Hulk, R2-D2, and Spock on it. And actually, no, that's in like a week and a half. Never mind.
Oh, start from the bottom until I'm here, but I'm already here. Like, can't start and come back. Like that'll ruin the flow. I'm already here. We're gonna go from here. Should have stepped up earlier, Knock. I'm sorry. Next time. We'll start from the bottom next time. But we're already here. I got a flow going. You have to start with one or the other. It doesn't work. Anyway, Ethan Van Sciver.
Start in the middle and work our way out.
That's right. Ethan Van Sciver went to New York Comic Con, I believe, and met up with some friends you may recognize in these photos here. Got Nerdrotic in the frame there. I don't know who the other guy is. Got Jeremy from, I believe, Geeks and Gamers with Ethan there. And then you've got Cecil from Dick and Comics on Twitter. Everybody loves Cecil. He actually showed up in his costume, which is a green alien mask with his mask over it.
Nice.
So, yes, I'm very happy that Cecil made it. But those guys showed up and all got together, and that looked like it was going to be a roariously good time. So I investigated a little bit. I went to Cecil's Twitter and I saw this. You don't have the screen share up, do you? I guess I should probably pull that up so you know what the hell I'm talking about.
Oh, I had the stream pulled up. I was looking at it there, but I'd probably
but you're on the delay, so
yeah.
R2-D2 only $160. Yeah, it's a 1/6 scale of R2-D2. I'm pretty sure Caesar bought that. So let's see here. So anyway, the screen share up for you, buddy.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, well, I move over to Cecil's Twitter to investigate, and I find that Cecil has gotten a selfie with Mark Wade. And
no,
I can only imagine the level of trolling and debauchery that has taken place at this point.
Oh, it would be so hard to not make a cuck joke.
Oh man, I don't know that he didn't. It's Cecil. He was so drunk. Cecil's always so drunk. Kind of like me, but
I was gonna say, is that a common thing with these these streams.
Probably. I kept digging a little bit, and I was like, man, I thought Jeremy over there. Let's see if Jeremy's got anything. And Jeremy has some things. Jeremy had some videos. So you see that Cecil has now lost the alien mask. Let's see what happened on this particular clip. It's got about 23 seconds, so let me unmute that there, and let's just see here.
Video! Yeah! Video! Go ahead, come on! He's flying, dude. Holy shit. Don't kill us now. Come on.
I like that he's not I like that he's not looking at the road at all.
He's not looking at the road at all. This might be the end.
I mean, to be fair, for anyone who's not been to New York City, the like lanes for the roads, they're more so just suggestions there. Like general guidelines. At least that's how all the taxi drivers and the 7 people that own a car in this city, because they're morons. That's at least how they act.
Right. Well, we have another 22-second clip right below that. Apparently they're still in the cap.
Oh, jeez.
I'll write the channel for you so you can watch it.
Yeah, I can watch it. I can watch it.
Cab, clap, clap, cab video.
Cab video! Clap, clap, clap.
Cecil is so fucking drunk. He's got a pair of sunglasses on with a ski mask pulled over them where it looks like he has bug eyes. He's flopping around in the back seat like he has no clue where he's at.
Oh, holy shit. I mean, you're in the... when in Rome.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Let's finish this up here.
Cab video! Yes.
This is awesome.
So that's that's what I found there, and the comments are pretty good, and there's some more video, but I didn't want to just droll on about their experience at New York Comic Con.
Clap, clap, video.
But as I was digging into this, I was originally going to bring up some of the fake taxi. I would feel so obligated to tip. Scottish taxi drivers, just miserable twats. I don't know how I feel seeing so much of Cecil's face. It's okay. We still have no idea who it is. Oh, what's going on, Matt Christie? Welcome to the show. We're just laughing at the antics of Ethan Van Sciver, Jeremy, and Cecil at New York Comic Con. And man, I did something stupid. I kept going down the rabbit hole. You know how when you're on a thread and you just go from person to person and you see a quote tweet or a comment, or you know where I ended up?
Is this going to be one of those things like those YouTube suggestion spirals you get into where you somehow start watching a movie review, then you end up watching a tutorial on like how to milk a snake?
Basically, yes. Yes,
Okay.
that is milking a snake is the best way to describe the aforementioned tweet that I found after this.
And not milk as in like the crazy people that like stick their fangs on a glass and like get their venom. No, I'm talking about like, finding nipples on a snake and like getting snake milk.
Yes.
Just want to make that clear.
Yeah, because you need it for a balanced and healthy breakfast. So everyone,
course.
this is we don't really do this on this show because everyone in my drink, imbibe, consume, kill it. I'm going to. I need a tattoo of that now.
That might be MVP comment of the night right there.
Yeah, I'm going to need you to comment that on the video after the show goes off the air. I'm going to need you to throw that up so I can pin it. But no, it basically I found, and I'm giving the trigger warning because I'm pretty sure everybody in our chat is well prepared to handle anything that I might bring up on this show. I mean, nobody's a child here.
At this point.
Yeah, nobody's a child here, and if you are, I apologize. You shouldn't be here without your parents' permission. But
like the DisneyChannel.com, you need your parents' permission to come here if you're under 18.
Oh, Matt Christie found Dick Masterson in the video game. I heard about that. Post it to him. I think he gives shout out to people that find him. So post it, like tag him. Tag Sean on Twitter at LA-based comedian, and he'll let Dick know about it and get Sean to give you the shout out. Right? Because Sean, his audio engineer, is on Twitter, not Dick. Dick got banned. It would be against the rules for him to have a Twitter account. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, I was going down the rabbit hole, and I found something that it's going to be painful to look at, but I have to pull it up because it's part of the story, right? And, this is at New York Comic-Con. All of this is at New York Comic-Con.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Novel Pro.
Well, I had to give out the trigger warning, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it, okay? Oh, how's it going, Captain Weeb? In case you missed, trigger warning.
What's up, Captain?
For what I'm about to pull up on stream. It's very sensitive for people. It's not really for human consumption in any sense of the word. But here we go. You ready?
As ready as I can be.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Ugh. Oh God. I'm sorry, everybody. I ended up on Tim Doyle's Twitter. I thought I was blocked by him, but apparently, I'm not anymore. And he's at New York Comic-Con with, a certain sea mammal that's escaped, and 2 other soy-laden individuals. I'm guessing they're trying to look imposing. I'm not sure what they're trying to accomplish here.
I could season some Chinese food with just the aroma coming off of this picture.
Yeah. This photograph definitely smells a little bit like MSG, right?
Yeah. Like, if you notice, there's a suspicious lack of cats in this photo.
Well, they're on Renfamous's head.
I mean, and I don't think it's a secret. Neither of us are in the best shape, but come on, man. At least wear like a button up to cover your man titties.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Or a shirt baggy enough to not hug you like that. That's awful.
Right. Or at least wear a training.
But this is their tough picture.
I'm quivering in my boots.
Dude, the guy on the far right, whew.
He looks like
he has no clue where he's at. He's like, why are you photographing me with these people? If I move, is it impolite?
He looks like Andy Samberg was born with fetal alcohol syndrome.
I disavow. But no, I found this, and So there were some people taking shots saying that the Ethan Van Sciver was a wimp. And you notice, I want everybody to look over here at the profile picture that Mr. Tim Doyle uses. How old do you think that picture is, Aaron?
Judging by the picture as posted here, at least 10 years old. Judging by just the growth of the mass of his face. I mean, am I wrong?
Oh, you're not wrong. Fucking savage, but you're not wrong. Oh shit, Captain Weeb just became a Patreon. Thanks for that, man. That's how triggered he is. We appreciate it. It'll help us in our healing. Yes. Also, shout out to Inbreck. He joined last night as well after the show. So big shout out to him.
Cheers to you, man.
As soon as these guys get us some comic books they want us to look at, we'll start getting some videos up.
You mean to torture us with?
Yes. Well, I mean, you know, they're welcome to do that. That's part of the game, I think. But yeah, I'll pull this off because there is something worse to come. Actually.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that.
You might want to check the Streamlabs real quick, though.
Oh man. Okay. Yeah, I'll get that pulled up. I actually did keep it pulled up tonight. We'll do a refresh here. But yeah, it was pretty rough, I'm gonna say. The next thing that I found, again, that same rabbit hole. It fucks you every time.
Right? Oh, jeez.
Oh man. The Ghost of Stan Lee. Show She-Hulk feet pics or I'm going to haunt you all. See if you can find some She-Hulk feet pics. I'll pull them up.
I'm on it.
All right.
Why do I do the dirty work?
I mean, you know, they pays it, we does it.
Yeah.
I mean, within reason. She-Hulk feet are worth $1. They're gonna need a refresher after what I'm about to pull up next. Because apparently, Renfamous didn't just show up.
Do we want deviant art? Yes or no?
I mean, as long as I can show it on stream.
Okay.
It's a decent depiction of She-Hulk with feet. I'll take it. Things I do for you people.
At least use one that's a comic book cover.
But apparently, Renfamous didn't just show up.
Anyways.
She didn't just show up to New York Comic Con to take an imposing, threatening photo with Tim Doyle. I actually am terrified. I'm literally shaking right now because of how threatened I feel by that social justice warriors assemble pose they had going on. No, that was literally his tweet. Did I not read it? Oh God, I didn't read it.
No.
Yeah. SJWs unite. Go make your sad podcast and die mad about it, nerds.
you know, it's like if the Avengers had like a special needs program.
That's just insulting to special needs children.
I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ. But no, SJWs unite. I don't even know what's parody anymore.
Right?
You know, is this real life? What was going on right now?
Or just a fantasy.
Right. Oh man, okay, it looks like we have an image here. Oh, there we go. Perfect.
Just for you, Ghost of Stanley.
That is perfect. Good job, mate. All right. Save that.
I don't know if I want credit for this.
Save as.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
I'm putting it on you. Putting the She-Hulk foot on you. You like it. Here we
I'm
go.
really disturbed that it was that easy to find that.
I'm disturbed that there was deviant that you had to like ask if I wanted deviant art or regular.
Well, that's what the majority of the links were, was a DeviantArt one, or if you want me to find like an actual Marvel picture.
Well, you know. There we go. All right, you ready? And She-Hulk feet. There we go. That'll be. This is the palate cleanser, ladies and gentlemen. Before I show you the merchandise that Ren brought to New York Comic Con to sell.
Oh, jeez. Hold on, I'm gonna need to pour some more scotch for this.
Speaking of whiskey, did you see where Glenlivet was advertising their Tide Pod whiskey cocktails?
No, I did not.
All I could do was respond with the Ron Swanson gift that said, "This is the wrong way to consume alcohol." But it's literally like the dissolvable pod full of an alcohol cocktail. And it's like, no ice, no glass, a different drinking experience.
One of my friends found like the Keurig K-Cups, but that have like dehydrated alcohol infused in them or something like that.
That's fantastic.
So it's like Irish coffee, like out of your Keurig.
Well, you know, I like that the Ghost of Stan Lee isn't actually in the chat. They're just, hitting us on the Streamlabs with request for feet pics. That's fantastic. We appreciate it. We appreciate our patronage, even if it results in this.
In deviancy.
The fuck even is this show anymore? I just wanted to talk about comic books.
I mean, we both assume this is what it would get to at some point. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, if Infamous was a magic card, add 50 testosterone to any soy-based group, but on the same turn, add minus 12 inch into any erection. Damn, this is the pinnacle we were supposed to reach. Oh, fuck, I'm gonna pour myself another Jameson. No, Danielle, I'm literally talking about a Tide Pod that you put in your mouth and it dissolves and lets the drink into it. It's not a Keurig thing. I've seen powdered alcohol and have long expected that. Challenge you to find a picture of correctly drawn hands and feet in a single panel done by Rob Liefeld. Good luck. Jesus Christ. I'm going to have to charge more than $1 for that. He's already a patron, but he's going to have to give up his... either his issue or his trade for that. I don't know. It depends on how long it takes us to find it. Like 30 years of comics to go through.
How long do I have to look?
Exactly. But anyway, no. This is the palate cleanser. So what comes next is, again, this is the merchandise that Renfamous and crew had for sale at New York Comic Con this week.
Please tell me it says like "Smash Capitalism" while they're selling it for a T-shirt for like $45.
Oh no! This is more entertaining, at least.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
There we go.
What? Make it go away. I do. I fire myself.
Roy Cornball on Twitter. He picked up a one-of-a-kind waifu pillow at New York Comic Con at Rimtimus, and I can always be together now.
I hope it's one of a kind, and I hope he kills it with fire. That thing does not need to exist.
That was the story of the.
Go back to that guy. Go back to that guy's face real quick.
Okay. Oh man, I feel like we need the full effect here. Let's just. There we go. That's the full.
No. No, I want to that guy's face because he looks like somebody whose bodily fluids are now on that pillow.
You know it's a parody account.
I don't care. I don't care.
We can't tell anymore. But no. So yes, the one of a kind Renfamous pillow, the lucky Mr. Cornball was able to gas.
I'm gonna fucking gas myself.
Oh man. So
Is it a
before it lays eggs? So yeah, that was the smash that dislike. I deserve it. I do. But I figured if I had to endure that earlier today while researching this show, I would go down that wonderful adventure with you guys.
Research.
But I do think that it is interesting that both these groups showed up, and I really hope they confronted each other in the parking lot, West Side Story style. But
Matt Christie over in the Discord posted a good picture.
Oh God. I can't pull that up right now on the screen. What is it?
Oh.
After seeing that, I'll be needing this. I see his alert. Oh yeah, Clorox slushy. Fantastic.
Yeah, Clorox Slurpee. Nothing like a Slurpee on a hot day. And you're not wrong.
So just died. I'm sorry. Sorry, Knock.
What's next?
That's it. That's the end of the story. That picture killed the stream.
Okay.
Did it? It says it's still up. Said we should still be good. Just refresh. I'll put that in the chat because the stream's dead. They can't hear me.
Uh-oh. I mean, if the stream did die after that, we kind of deserve it.
I did, but it was funny. And I thought about it. I was literally thinking about it. Like, should I put this up? It's censored. There's nothing wrong with it. Oh yeah, we're still live. We're good. Just hit refresh. But time to vape bleach. Yeah. That's where my day took me this morning, researching this show for you guys. And unfortunately, unlike San Diego Comic-Con, one picture was more volatile than a stick of dynamite in the shadow. See cows from oh my. So anyway, I did do some research, but unlike San Diego Comic-Con, I didn't really find a whole lot of, I don't know, just coverage of the panels. I mean, some people were live streaming from the con, but this one seemed to have more to do with vendors and panels, really. I mean, there were some announcements that I'm going to take a look at, but there just wasn't as much over coverage.
I kind of like that more than, like, the San Diego Comic-Con panels are just getting ridiculous. Right? Like, I'm not the only one who thinks that.
No, but
like,
yeah.
Okay, all these Hollywood celebrities who really don't care. They're just doing this just to, milk their own fame and attention whore.
Danielle brought enough bleach for the whole chat. Oh God, yeah.
Intravenously.
I guess I should have saved that for last, but no, we've got more. We will go on. That's just the worst of it. Now, we do have a refreshing palate cleanser. As with always, at any convention, there's going to be some cosplay, right?
Right.
So, with Endgame coming out...
It can be,
Yeah.
Some of it can be kind of like obsessively kind of impressive. Like
Mhm.
you're probably on the spectrum for building that, but it does look really cool. And then some of it's just bad.
And some of it's so bad that it's good.
True. Like those people that make like the full size like alien like puppet costumes and like that kind of shit. Like it's cool. You're probably on the spectrum for spending, a year and a half building that damn thing, but it is cool.
Oh no. I'm going a completely different direction than that. There was a gentleman, a fine, outstanding lad at this event. And with Endgame having just come out, and Thor's always been fairly popular, you're gonna have some Thors out there, right?
Yeah.
Well, if this guy didn't win an award at this con, and the world is unjust.
I mean, that last picture proves that the world is unjust, but continue. I'll follow the.
So there we have Fat Thor Lebowski. The Odin son abides.
I dig it.
Yeah. I saw that and I had to share that with you guys. The Big Lebowski is one of the church's favorite movies, so obviously I took a liking to that. That pillow is like an Aid blanket X3000.
See, really, they say that they gave smallpox blankets to the natives. Really, they just handed out those pillows.
Right.
That's what happened.
Right. That's what did the natives in. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was that's my. Is that Nick? That's Nick's fat twin. Almost like Kidley just got really chill in his old age. But yeah, that's my nomination for best cosplay of New York Comic Con. There, I almost put him in the thumbnail before Ayrton and I coordinated on what our reviews were going to be this week. So, I do actually have some real coverage from the show. The only thing that really stood out to me, was exciting to me, was first off, Star Wars Captain Picard, Star Wars Picard trailer unleashed.
Star Trek. Don't fuck that one up. We'll
get
taken out by a drone strike if we mess that one up.
That's right. Star Trek Picard is coming out. And the thing is, I was thinking Star Wars because I was going to pull up a Star Wars link, but there wasn't anything interesting in regard to Star Wars. Everything was just sad.
Star Wars sucks now.
Everything was just sad. And thanks for rehashing that. Anyway, Star Trek Picard. The trailer for that was released, so we're not going to watch the whole thing because the last time I did, I had clip it out, and all that good shit. So we're not even going to bother. However, it has been released. You can find it at the Get Fandom Twitter at. I wouldn't recommend following them. They're kind of but so.
I mean,
there is. Go ahead.
I like Patrick Stewart, but
well, yeah, that's.
Can we just knock this shit off? Seriously, I'm getting so tired of nostalgia-based.
Yeah, your childhood coming back
content.
To you.
Yeah,
right.
Like seriously, knock it off. I mean, Patrick Stewart, he's a fantastic actor.
Right.
He's great, but anytime I see something that's linked to something nostalgic like that, I immediately write it off at this point. Because I assume, one, I assume it's going to suck.
Yeah.
And two, I'm just sick of it. I mean, when was the last, remake, reimagining, prequel, sequel, whatever, from a movie that's 25, 30 years old, or a TV show or whatever that's been good?
Dr. Dolittle.
My point exactly.
I mean, you ask Dr. Doolittle, the Nutty Professor, and anything that Eddie Murphy did until they started giving those things sequels.
Right.
Oh, you're running hangover prevention. Jesus, yeah. Pour a drink, buddy. Novel, bro. Water, food, cheese, Spidey. Cheese! There is something to that, though. Fuck, I just bought
I want to hear
235.
that.
A dual drab bay pump res comp. You just keep spending all this money on rigs. Whenever I have the money for an actual decent streaming rig, you know, when we have 100 million subscribers and are bigger than PewDiePie, I'm gonna get you to build it because you're just like making this beast of a computer that's probably gonna be able to, you know, work as home defense and transform into a fucking jetliner so you can cross the country with it while still working on it.
Can you just build me a laptop that just like turns on?
I don't know that he's capable of doing something so simple and plebeian. Oh, you've been slamming beers at a metal show all day. Ooh, that's no good, man. Yeah.
Ooh,
yeah.
You need
water,
some
food,
whiskey.
and cheese.
You need a pint of whiskey. You need to fry up a nice, fat, juicy, like, fatty steak. And you need to listen to the rest of the show and sleep it off, and you'll be good. And down like 2 bottles of water before you go to sleep.
And take an aspirin. And have a beer in the fridge for when you wake up. You'll never get hungover if you just stay drunk, son.
Beer fucks up your hydration, bro. Spoken like a true Scotsman.
That's correct. You just put ice in the scotch and you stay perfectly hydrated.
See, I just throw my rocks glass in the freezer.
See, that's why you're dehydrated all the time.
No, I'm dehydrated all the time because mostly what I drink is beer, whiskey, and coffee.
Well, this was probably the most exciting piece of news I saw out of NYCC in regards to actual comic books this week, though.
Huh.
And I figured you might be interested in looking into it and hearing about it, so I pulled it for the show.
Yeah, I've been seeing the Dawn of X advertisements in the House of X, Powers of X stuff. I'll probably check out the first couple issues, unless Hickman's actually writing it, though. I don't have high hopes for it.
Oh.
And what do you mean Wolverine's getting his own monthly comic series? There's the Old Man or Dead Man Logan or whatever that's been going on for a few months now.
That's a maxi series. It's going to end at 12 issues.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway. Been a long time coming, but Wolverine is finally getting his own monthly comic book series again. Marvel revealed the news at their Dawn of X panel at NYCC today. The new volume of Wolverine will be written by Benjamin Percy, writer of the podcast Wolverine: The Long Night, and his comic book adaptation, and drawn by the rotating art team of Adam Kubert, Captain America, and Victor Bogdanovic. I'm going to name a coughing in Pokemon, Bogdanovic. So
okay. I don't know if you listened to that Wolverine podcast.
That's what I was sitting there thinking. I just subscribed to it the other day. I haven't listened to it yet, but it is queued up.
It's actually pretty good. I like the second season. I forget what it's called. Better, but it was pretty good.
Okay.
I will. Okay, if he's writing it, okay.
We'll cover it on the show.
I'm kind of down for that then.
Yeah. Where does QA Maxi Series live in Maxi? Oh, Jesus Christ. Bourbons and ryes are to be slammed straight. Also, watering scotch via ice or a teaspoon of water, well known being out the flavor.
True.
To be honest, I'm excited about Ewing on Guardians of the Galaxy and Cates on Thor. Yeah, I touched on this a few weeks ago, and I'll get through this article, but I'll come back to this. There's something to be said about. I think the comic books are actually trying to kind of go back to where their roots lie, but we'll touch on that. Believe it or not, there hasn't been an ongoing monthly series featuring a classic version of Wolverine since 2014. A whole 5 years off. Barry Allen was dead for 18. The character was killed off in the miniseries Death of Wolverine, with both X-23 and Old Man Logan stepping up to fill the void, even though the original Wolverine returned to life in 2017's Marvel Legacy #1. He's been slow to return to the forefront of the X-Men franchise. Instead, his story has continued in miniseries like Return of Wolverine and Wolverine Infinity Watch, as well as a recent volume of Uncanny X-Men.
Which Infinity Watch wasn't great, but I enjoyed it.
Certainly a good time to launch. Oh, I haven't read it yet, but you did tell me it was okay.
Yeah, I mean it's like a buddy cop between Wolverine and Loki. So I mean it is entertaining.
Certainly a good time to launch a new Wolverine comic. Twin titles House of X and Power of X have introduced a bold new status quo for the X-Men, including a major twist that rewrites Marvel's history, and another that effectively makes the X-Men immortal. So that's interesting. So you know more about that than I do right now. But don't break it to me yet. I'm going to read everything next Wednesday. We might even talk about all of them Wednesday night. So
yeah, I think I told you. I don't know if I told you off air or not, but it's like super like weird sci-fi, and I kind of really like it.
Okay. Those books will be followed.
A little cop out-ish, but it's kind of in a fun way.
Okay. Those books will soon be followed up by a line-wide relaunch called Dawn of X. Wolverine won't be among the initial 6 Dawn of X comics launching in October, but Jonathan Hickman previously confirmed there was multiple waves of new X books hitting over the next several years. So you've got the relaunch image here. There's a gallery we can flip through.
Yeah, there's a new X Factor, a new just like X-Men. What else is there?
Fallen Angels.
Yeah.
New Mutants.
Yeah,
I read that New Mutants book last week. Marauders, Excalibur, and X-Force. Okay.
So we'll see. I mean, X-Men has always been probably one of my favorite team book, or probably my favorite team book since I was a kid, but I'll give them a shot. We'll see.
Then they have a couple of links to some other articles that we're not going to go to. But yeah, there's a Wolverine book coming after October, apparently. And next week, when we cover the House of X, Powers of X grouping, if you will, I think we might look at covering some more X-Men in the near future. Because I really want to look at Age of Apocalypse, but Age of Apocalypse is going to be a long series to review.
Yeah. Well, and one thing I will say, when you first said that, I was like, shit, it's going to be lame. You know, he's not going to drink and smoke anymore. But if it's that podcast writer, like, Wolverine at least comes across as like a raging alcoholic in the podcast at certain points.
Oh, right. SJW Spidey brings it up in the chat. Thanks for mentioning it, actually, because I did want to bring that up. I don't have a link for it, but we can just talk about it real quick. Marvel has a deal to do 40K comics. That's Warhammer 40K for any...
Oh, okay.
Blood for the Blood God, Skulls for the Skull Throne. But I'm not the biggest 40K fan, but I respect any well-built lore. And I've always meant to get into it, but the world just kept getting bigger and bigger, and my time kept getting smaller and smaller. I think there are audiobooks for some of it, so I may invest in those.
It's at least something.
And and listen to them at work when Racket decides to go on vacation for 2 weeks again. Gonna go to Hawaii and cosplay as a lobster. Fucking guy. Also, he may be streaming tonight, so we should keep an eye on that. I haven't seen an announcement, but to be honest, I haven't been watching because I didn't think I needed to on Saturday. But we'll see. Obviously, I don't hold it against anybody if they drop in and out. We appreciate all of you just stopping by. Like and subscribe, all that nonsense. I won't torture you with pictures of infamous waifu pillows that often. Occasionally, I have to just to let you know that I'm still insane and have not gone soft. But for the most part, I try and keep that shit to a minimum.
Yeah.
40K comics. I'm tentatively, and this kind of goes back to what I wanted to talk about before we got off the subject to finish up that article. I've read a handful of randomly selected Marvel and DC books every week for, I don't know, going on 5 years now. There's just certain times when titles will come out and I'll just be like, oh, okay. I'll give this a shot. And even if I don't like it, I mean, I don't know about your town because you live in Michigan and Michigan is a shithole. But,
That's putting it mildly. We can't even drink the water in certain areas around here.
There are all kind of
it's like fucking
book depots and like little book depositories where you can just donate comics and books for kids to just take.
Yeah.
So,
we have some stuff like
if there are ever comic books that I get and don't want, and I read out of mint condition and don't want to give somebody just a bunch of red comic books as an actual gift or anything like that. Like, it's not like Alternaween when you get brand new stuff, you put it in a bag and board and drop it in somebody's trick-or-treat gifts. Speaking of which, Alterna stuff's on the way. Spidey says Audible has a lot of Warhammer stuff. Word. I do have an Audible account, so that'll work. I just hadn't looked. I got Audible to read the Game of Thrones books.
We should get Audible as a sponsor of this show.
Oh, God, no. They would never sponsor us. I respect any sponsor, and I promise not to use the word cuck within 10 minutes of your advertisement, one way or the other. That's about as good as I can do. No guarantees that it won't just fly out at any other point during that show. But I will not say it within 10 minutes of your advert slot.
And we'll time out Novel Bro for 10 minutes after your advertisement slot, just so he doesn't say any Mel Gibson related references.
Nope. Novel Bro is not in no way, shape, or form is representative of the thoughts and beliefs of the people on the Gospel of Comics. Even though we love Novel Bro. But, no, I pick up comic books just to give away a lot of the times, every week. I mean, on my lunch break a lot of times, if I have a couple of dollars in my pocket, I'll go buy a new comic book from my shop just to put some money in the register. And, how much to book Ian Glenn Jorah to do the readings for the books? He did the George R. R. Martin prequel books. Yeah, and since Roy Dotrieve is gone, R.I.P. Roy Dotrieve, probably the best thing to ever happen to Game of Thrones audiobooks. Anyway, I'm getting sentimental and off track. I'll read several Marvel and DC books every week. And in doing that, not everything they put out is bad. Nah, man, speak your speech, Novel Bro. We will never silence you for $1.
I was just fucking with you.
Yeah, no, we will never silence your speech for $1. Now, if YouTube does it, there's nothing I can do about that. We'll just get you another account and tell you to be careful. But no, I'll read a Marvel and DC book and it'll be fine. It'll be good even to a certain degree. What it is, I think, is that people are exhausted in the gimmicks and just the blatant disregard of the legacy properties. And that kind of rolls into why I picked the book to review that I did this week. We're going to look at it last because I'm going to rant on about it and I want to get through Ayrton's review before we get pressed for time. But, I don't think that every book that Marvel or DC puts out is bad, and I want to quash that notion. At the beginning of the whole Comicsgate movement, I had become so disenfranchised with the actual industry that I was on basically a boycott of buying a lot of new titles. But I still always had a pull list. I mean, I had a pull list that was 3 months out for years on end. And there are 2 titles that are concurrently on my pull list. If anything Spider-Man or anything Green Lantern new comes out, it's pulled for me whether they expect me to buy it or not, just so that I can see it and have a chance.
Right.
So a lot of times I'll pick up some of that stuff. Doctor Strange, Daredevil. Both really interesting books right now, depending on the right staff. But again, to get a customer involved in wanting to buy an ongoing series like this Wolverine book, let's say you like one guy's art, not the other guy, right?
Yeah.
And you know nothing or care nothing for the podcast guy, just theoretically, some guy off the street, not Ayrton McCartney.
Right.
Why would he want to buy an ongoing series where half the books he didn't like looking at?
That's a good point. I mean, I know we've done plenty of reviews where the art isn't the best, but the story makes up for it. But,
right,
that's not everyone can make that shift in their brain.
And I know a lot of times people point back to, the Marvel style. You can't fall back on that anymore because we get shit like Squirrel Girl. We get shit like the Spider-Man stills where Black Cat looks like a Bratz doll. And we get Miss Marvel. And even none of that is...
Some of the Hickman run, which I've enjoyed sometimes, like the wide shots of like faces and stuff just are off.
Right.
Like they have kind of this weird, like
distortion,
quickly drawn, uncanny valley type of look to them.
Maybe even some of them were swiped from photos or something like that.
Right. Like
not accusing anybody of tracing blatantly, but swiping is a big part of the industry when you're on a deadline. Everybody knows it. Everybody kind of accepts it.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not like bad. Like I said, it's usually like wide shots. But if you start looking into the art in too much detail, it can be a little distracting and kind of pull you out of the story a little bit.
Yeah, Bro in the chat says, what Comicsgate was to me was what Game of Thrones The Phantom Schism was to him. Severe politicization of low-tier protagonists that got way out of hand. Daenerys fans and the Stannermen. I was actually talking about Stannis in regards to the book Stannis. He was a lot more of a hard-ass in the books than he was the show. Don't let me get off on that because I've been re-listening to those books. I feel like that, you need consistency in an ongoing story, and you can't rotate out writers and artists every 3 to 6 issues and expect people to keep buying a product. When I put Batman, for say, on my pull list, at the time that I would have put it on my pull list, it would have been because Tom King was writing it, and whoever I had read that week was drawing it. And I said, damn, I need you to find me all the back issues you can of this that I don't have, And I also want all the new ones that are coming in. Please and thank you. But,
Right.
you know, when you change the writer and the artist and the story 6 issues after I start buying your book is completely different, that disenfranchises someone and it makes them bitter and angry. And I don't know if these big companies take the human element into consideration, but human beings are petty people. Like, human beings are petty creatures. We will hold a slight over nothing. And
I mean, I refused to buy a GM car just because I had to change the spark plugs in a fucking Trailblazer once, and they put the last spark plug in their inline engine underneath the lip of the engine compartment, so you couldn't get to it, and it pissed me off so much. I was like, you know what? I'm never going to buy a GM car just because of this.
right. And I mean, even to a smaller degree, you get slightly inconvenienced. Huh, we'll see you when you get back, Spidey. We'll still be here ranting and raving. I haven't even poured my second scotch yet. But,
damn, son.
Well, you know, it's good conversation, and I didn't want to get absolutely ass blasted before later on tonight. I might be doing some MTG Arena after dark.
I saw that.
Yeah. I don't know. They're doing an event, but I'll get into that after the show. And that depends on whether I can streaming and all that good shit.
Right.
But no, I mean earlier this week, a friend of mine had a bad experience at a local mom and pop shop, and they don't even realize that because they were rude, they lost our business forever, because it's not like you just make a declaration, I'm never going to shop here again. No, you just keep it in the back of your head. The last time you went there, you got shitty treatment. And the same goes for every other facet of human interaction. Like, you tell your friends about the bad experiences you have more than the good ones. And I just think that Marvel and DC have succumbed to that so many times that it's causing people to just lose faith in their product. And I mean, even on this show, we make it a point to showcase indie books or independent published books. We don't always pick the most indie of the indie. I mean, we pick what we can get our hands on. But, it's not like we're out here just trying to push the Hulk or Thor down anybody's throat.
Yeah.
So,
which, you tried to deep throat the Hulk, you'd probably be split in half.
You went there. I knew you were going to went there. I knew you were going to go there as soon as I said it. But I said it anyway, and I was just like, okay, he's being serious about it because I'm on a roll. I should just roll with it. And as soon as I was about to start talking again, you fucking did it. You fucked me like it.
Come on. How long have we been doing this show?
I knew it was coming. But,
hey, we could have a show debate on this. Would gamma radiation shrink the genitalia, or would it grow like the rest of the body?
That depends on what porno you're watching. Captain Weeb in the chat, what comic series should I dip my toes into? That depends on if you want something new or something that's already established and done with. I always suggest going with older stuff that has good recommendations to just kind of get a feel for what you like. So my suggestions would be basically a lot of the stuff that we reviewed on this show. Chew. This is just CHEW, Chew. Criminal by Ed Brubaker. A lot of volumes of that. You can read any one of them independently, or you should read them in order, however. A lot of these are free with a Comixology account. What I used to tell people back in the day was take $5 and find a quarter bin, which is now $10, and find a 50-cent bin or a $1 bin. And just pick up as many random comics as look interesting to you by the cover or whatever. And It didn't matter if they were number ones. It didn't matter if they were in order or anything like that. Just pick as many random comics as you could pick up with a small amount of money and just figure out what you like. And once you have an idea of a baseline of what you like, it's a lot easier to give recommendations because as a medium, comics are, they're all over the place. It's like anime or manga. There's just so many different types. If somebody says, what kind of anime should I watch? It's not going to be an open-ended question. Somebody like me who has a little more of a variety taste, I'll like a little bit of anything, but somebody who doesn't like, say, action or adventure, or somebody who doesn't like, something with a more girlish overtone like the Slayers or Sailor Moon or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, or someone like me that just likes the most ridiculous and over-the-top stupid things.
You should always be watching One
We
Piece.
find.
You should just always be watching One Piece.
I have watched a little bit of One Piece back in the day, and it was entertaining. I did enjoy that. The one dude that fights with 3 samurai swords, like one of them's in his mouth.
Yeah. If you have an Amazon account, Captain Weeb, you can do a month free on Comixology, and I can point you to some stuff that you can kind of peek into without having to spend any money. And that'll kind of get you a baseline of what you might like. And from that point on, you can kind of be guided towards things One Piece is a time sink, yes. But you can kind of be guided towards things that'll be more vested to your interest.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the review. We're basically to the part of the story where we're onto our reviews. We do have 2 more things to look at, but we'll pull those if we have time after the reviews. Stannis is the one true king, absolutely. But that red woman just fucked him over.
Why do I feel like that's racist?
No, she was a white guy. She was a white woman in red, and I'm pretty sure she.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she enjoyed the company of the hounds more than she did men.
Which is fair. I like hanging out with my dog more than I like most people.
No, man, it's the meme. White girls and dogs.
Oh.
Something, and off YouTube.
I was thinking the Hemingway quote. I think it was Hemingway, where he said, "The more time I spend with my dog, the less I enjoy the company of other men." Or something to that effect.
That's still fair.
Novelbert will probably correct me on that one.
But so this is the book you picked this week.
Yeah.
Boom Studios. Strange Skies Over East Berlin.
Yeah, now, I will say, I mostly picked this up because I love alien-related things.
Mm-hmm.
I watched that entire interview of Dan Aykroyd on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Okay.
If you haven't watched it, it's fucking great.
Right.
There's like 20 minutes of him chilling his vodka, which is really good vodka. But the rest is him just going on and on about aliens. And I think he gets on Bigfoot and stuff. And it's hilarious. I love it.
Man, who is it? Bob Dylan, I think? No. God, who is it? Might be Bob Dylan. Heaven's Door. He has a whiskey called Heaven's Door Whiskey.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. I haven't tried that yet.
Pretty good. Bourbon's good, at least. I haven't tried the rye.
I should see if my liquor store has that.
But Boom Studios, Strange Skies Over East Berlin, written by Jeff Lovelace, illustrated by Lissandro Esterin, and colored by Patricio Delpech, lettered by Steve Wands, cover by Evan Cagle, and unlocked retailer variant by a name that probably has a click in it. So, This cover. The first thing I thought about when I saw this cover, it reminds me of that indie book we were talking about with the creator the other day. That Eudaimonia.
Yeah, yeah, it
Uh,
reminded me of that too, as well.
you
That's
know,
kind of why I grabbed it.
and I think that anytime you hear Berlin, you automatically are going to World War II subconsciously.
Right.
I mean, I don't know what it is with history and the way that stories have been told over time that, when you hear certain words like Kremlin or Berlin or kamikaze or something like that, I think you immediately subconsciously travel back to World War II. And
I mean, it did say East Berlin, so I assumed it was going to be like Cold War era.
right. That's what I mean. Just
But
around that post World War II, hot military, like hotbed,
yeah,
just conflict constantly stuff. So we started reading it, and I don't. You picked it, so you give me your thoughts on it.
I thought it was fun. It has an interesting kind of like espionage spy thriller start, and then it gets into like a weird like alien sci-fi type story at the end.
Yeah.
And I think that's an interesting like blend. I mean, I know it's one of the least liked James Bond movies, but I really enjoy Moonraker.
Well, I mean, it is
personally.
It is kind of a trope that I'm seeing a lot more often, and that's your sci-fi mixed with your history, and I think they call that something specific. I think they call it revision, not revision, your alt history, something like that. It's basically historical fan fiction.
Yeah, I like the alt history stuff. That and again being into kind of like that like conspiracy like paranormal stuff.
Right.
Not like in the the crazy like Alex Jones, Dan Aykroyd sense. I just really enjoy reading about it for some reason. I just find it super, super fascinating.
Yeah.
And there's stories about the Nazis developing UFOs and time travel and like finding Atlantis or finding like a passage to a world inside the Earth.
Well, I don't know if
like Journey to the Center of the Earth type sort of stuff. So that's kind of what drew me to this was that whole kind of framework.
Well, I don't know if you knew this or not, but I mean, Hellboy, one of my favorite comic properties, is rooted in Nazi Germany World War II lore. I don't know if you ever saw the movies, but the origin of Hellboy is pretty accurate. It was the Nazis that summoned Hellboy.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's interesting about it is the Nazis did like fuck around with occult paranormal type stuff trying to find like these ancient artifacts that supposedly had powers and stuff like that. Like that stuff is true that they did search for that. And so that alt history kind of taking it to a more literal sense, kind of like Raiders of the Lost Ark sort of thing, is something I've always enjoyed. I mean, technically, Last Crusade is probably my favorite Indiana Jones movie, just because Sean Connery's in it, and who doesn't love Sean Connery?
I mean, a lot of Scotsmen, I would presume. But anyway, back to the book.
Yeah,
can't let you go on forever. That's my shtick.
Yeah, sorry. Well, the first thing I want to point out is you picked up a digital copy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the paper, I don't know if it's the paper or the way it's printed, but it's like like it's high quality, like it's dense paper, like when you feel it, like it's textured, like it almost feels like everything was actually painted on, like, when you feel a watercolor
Mhm.
painting, it almost has that kind of texture. It's really weird, but I just wanted to point that out. That was just something I noticed just from picking it up.
Is it like
But
really thin cardstock or just really thick, like almost printer paper, thick paper? Like,
I
does it
think it
almost
might.
have a rigidity to it?
Does it almost have what?
A rigidity to it? Like, is it almost rigid?
Not quite. I think it might be like a thicker printer paper.
Yeah, it might actually be cheaper paper then,
Huh.
because that's one thing that Doug TeNapel and Ethan Van Sciver have talked about. Just because paper's thin doesn't make it cheap. In fact, thinner papers are much more expensive.
Fair enough.
So
I don't.
it could be cheaper paper. I'd have to see if my store got a copy. I don't think they did. I didn't see one this week, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just, from doing this show all these months, these little things I'm starting to notice
Uh
from it.
huh. The first actual page is 1937. A wall cut.
1973.
God damn it, my dyslexia. 1973. A wall cut the world in half. The United States left Vietnam in chaos to ruin. The Soviet Union maintains a stranglehold over the Eastern Bloc. East Germany is the deepest surveillance state in the world. Thousands of Stasi agents use thousands of informants to spy upon their neighbors. The wall is built higher. And we open up with, a guy who's basically trying to help people get over the Berlin Wall. And he makes mention that, the grass is always greener, etc. Now, one thing I do want to immediately point out is the art style, while somewhat rudimentary in some points, it's absolutely stunning in others. Like, especially when you have landscape and building shots.
Right, and like I said, it looks like it has that watercolor kind of look to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's very flowing, and like there's a lot of vibrant colors and hard uses of shadow and stuff like that.
But
which I really, really liked.
So,
but
we're introduced to our main character, and he's a informant, a spy, a rebel. We're not really sure exactly what he is, but we know that he's good at what he does, and that's asking questions and telling lies, essentially. That's basically what the story goes through. After the group that's trying to cross the wall is captured, and again, during this time, all he's talking about is, the truth. It always finds you, but everyone lies, and depends on what you're lying about. Some people some people can see your lies, and there's a very big truth and lie overtone. Not a lot of dialogue in this book either. Most of it's just internal thought process. For every one page of dialogue, you've got 4 of thought bubbles until the very end. The last 6 or 7 pages are almost all dialogue. At the beginning of the book, there's almost none.
Which, as I've mentioned before, growing up with those old Wolverine comics and stuff like that are heavy with the internal dialogue, I always like that when it's done well. Sometimes it can get a bit wordy, but they're pretty short and sweet, and they're used to kind of punctuate what's happening in each scene, which I really like.
Oh, well, I have to drink to that. I'm going to make you repeat what you just said in a minute, but I was checking the chat out. Grom has hit 56%.
All right.
Apparently, Rose Tico is being erased from Star Wars merchandise. Shit. We really have to have 2 drinks now. So a drink for Gilbert and 56% on Grom. May it reach 156%. Cheers. And now a drink that Rose Tico is being erased from Star Wars merchandise. You have a source on that, SJW Spidey? Send it to me. We'll talk about it tomorrow on the show. Cheers. Ayrton's greater than church.
The captain's log. Well, thank you.
I respect all opinions, but I appreciate it. But no,
I just need to say I have no idea who that is.
That's Ayrton's alt account. Oh man, yeah, we'll talk about this tomorrow on the show. That'll be fantastic. Now, you were saying, I apologize for interrupting. We had some good news in the chat.
Yeah. So I like how the internal dialogue is used as a punctuation to the action, or I got action. I don't know. So what's going on in the scenes? It really works well. This Jeff Loveness, he really hit the mark with some of that. Like the scene, if you want to pull that up, where the one guy trying to escape gets shot.
Yeah. Yeah, and that kind of harkens back to what I was saying, though. I don't, and this is just me, but I'm not personally, a big fan of the face work in this book.
Yeah,
I don't know. The face is just in this panel on the left-hand side here, and even in the panel on the right-hand side. Neither one of those looks like it matches the art style. But that could just be me being nitpicky.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it felt like they were going back to an older style of art. I mean, I could be wrong about that, but it felt kind of like a throwback style to me.
I have to fire the captain's log now. No, it definitely does feel like an old school watercolor style. I really do like it, and again, it's got kind of that muted palette that we've been seeing a lot of. It's definitely a long shot from back when you would get 4-color comics and dotted line prints. But also, if you're wanting me to fire Ayrton, that's going to have to be on the next book when we disagree pretty heavily. But no, the guy jumps off. That's right. I'm also better than drugs. But the one guy gets across the wall and gets gunned down. But this isn't even the meat of the story. I think. Yeah, go ahead.
Right, but this is what I'm talking about. The punctuation. It's like he's talking about how we lie to ourselves and how the truth comes out and stuff. And a lie that we tell ourselves is that we have time left, that you can be saved, and then bam, this character gets shot, and there's this nice flowing red going through everything in the bottom right of your guys' screen, and it's easy to lie to yourself. That's all it says on this page, and it's a real hard punctuation to what's going on right here. And I think it's a real kind of hard hitting form of storytelling.
Yeah.
Where as in other books, somebody might have dialogue. They might have the guard that shot at him yelling something, and then this character yell, just like, yell in agony or something as being shot, but having it dialogically, I don't know if there's a if there's a word for that. Having it
Oh
basically
no, we're using that
silent.
one. We're using dialogically.
We are having this a dialogically silent scene with just these short, like, one sentence word bubbles to punctuate everything. It's really impactful and really kind of highlights what's going on. That's one of the things I liked about it. But anyways,
I think what pros refer that to is the writing isn't holding your hand, and the word you were looking for, I do believe, was dialogueless.
okay. I'm sticking with dialogically.
That's gospel of comics lore now. I mean, that's just,
Yeah.
there's no way to get past that.
Hashtag dialogically.
Right. But the main thing
We moved
is
to a great. I want you to pull up that 2-page splash of the light, though.
I'm already there. Yeah. Now,
All right.
the one thing that I wanted to point out, though, is the first half of this comic, while it does draw you in, it's absolutely nothing to do with the story, so you think, by the time you get to the end, until you get to the very last page. And I think that was my favorite part of this book.
Last couple pages.
Right. But I think that was a very good part of this book. It pulled you in, and it took you somewhere you never thought you would be from this, because you go from being introduced to this character as someone who's trying to oppose the Nazi regime and help people get out of Berlin or out of East Berlin or whatever. And you find out that they've used their skills to basically infiltrate the German army and try and get some information. And they've worked their way up to being taken seriously as an officer and actually being admitted to certain restricted information.
Yeah, to the point that our main character here, like, he's spying on spies, and like you almost get the feeling like he doesn't really know what side he's on anymore. is kind of how it comes across, right?
Well, that's another trope in the undercover, like, deep cover storytelling. There's actually a movie by that name with Deep Cover, and it's about a cop who goes undercover as a cocaine dealer. Church's biggest fan. Church is the best. He's so cool. He let me borrow his card and spend all his money on anime body pillows. We share them time to time. That is correct. That is correct. Church's biggest fan. Does occasionally sleep in the steeple. We live in a society, ladies and gentlemen.
In current year.
But that's right. But thank you for that, Church's biggest fan, whoever that mystery donator might be.
It's Mrs. Church, isn't it?
You should read the chat. Oh, F in the chat for Spidey's fun time. Couldn't put the F in there for. But anyway, this guy works his way up into being the, in the intelligence community for Germany. That's when he encounters someone who was sent to a recovery site of an unidentified flying object. And since we're running short on our page count here, I think this will be the last page we show. But
yeah,
you find out that during the day that he was helping those people escape, that he believes he was spotted and his cover was blown by this one German official. So he's made his way into, being undercover as a German, and he encounters this person who keeps saying, "Open the door, let the truth out. The truth will always find you. Let it out." And then this person expires, and their essence seems to manifest out of their pores.
Yeah, which is... Man, I wish we didn't reach our page count, because the page before that, where this... So this officer was sent to the crash site of whatever this object was that went over the... went across the Berlin Wall.
There we go.
A few nights before. And as he's saying this, he just starts to slowly first bleed from his eyes, and then the panels get darker and more shadowy. Kind of reminded me of Raiders of the Lost Ark at that last panel where he's like nothing, and then this blue energy essence just starts.
Yeah,
I don't know, radiating. Is that the word? Out of his
of his
face.
Yeah, they just start rising out of his pores almost. It's disturbing. It's really creepy art, considering how muted and just light the original art in this book was. And it's the same artist and it's the same style, so it's not jarring that it happened. But by the time you notice it, it's just like you've seen
it's intense.
Yeah, you've seen a piece of illustrative storytelling that's just done tremendously well, I think. And that takes a lot of based on a Whitey Bulger food.
And yes, Daniel, I can English in here.
What?
I don't know. You told me to check the chat.
Oh no, yeah. But no, the artwork in this book is just absolutely stellar. But after this guy essentially expires, someone from his past is basically a ghost in. Oh man, we appreciate it, Weeb. Definitely.
Yeah. Good night,
definitely
man.
appreciate having you. By all means, stop in anytime. But yeah, we're gonna do this last review and wrap up.
If you want to DM us, Captain, a little bit more in depth about some comic recommendations, feel free.
Yeah, man, definitely. Or jump in the Discord anytime and DM us there.
Yeah.
Either way. And with that, we salute you, sir. For those about to rock. Right. Anyway, at the end of this, the story is compounded into the discovery that there is some kind of alien life out there that knows everything about everyone. Is essentially the implications being made. Things that you'd never told a single soul, because apparently the girl in the previous image that we were looking at has something to do with this guy's past. And this alien essence is terrifying in that regard. But
yeah, and the last panel, all red washed, just says, "The truth finds you, and it takes its revenge."
Yeah,
and it cuts to Inspector Kiner, who I believe was an actual Stasi officer back during the Cold War. One of the main guys, and it's a close up of his eyes just saying, "We will know everything," as he's talking to our quadruple agent.
Yeah, protagonist, our main character.
Yeah.
What would you call this guy? He's not a hero.
Yeah, we still don't really know who or where he stands or who he is.
Well, we have to assume that he's the good guy because he's infiltrating and spying on the Nazis.
Yeah.
So that's the trope there. But all in all, I really liked this. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would after the first 5 pages. Once the extraterrestrial element got involved, I was in. But before that, I was kind of on the fence about it because I'm like, this is okay, but I mean, it hooked me and it made me want to keep reading it, but if it didn't have two twists at the end, and I don't know that I would have felt the same about it. But the ending makes up for the slow burn at the beginning.
Shyamalan on you.
Yeah, the double twist.
Yeah.
My nipple's still purple.
But I'm curious, again, going back to, the conspiracy paranormal stuff. I need to hit the cough button. 1 second.
So
I'm wondering what direction they're going to take, if they're going to do like the whole like Nazis found time travel, invented UFOs, reverse engineered alien technology route, or if they're just going like full on like alien invasion sort of route with it.
that's one thing that I think Novel Bro and I have talked about in the past. That's one thing that made something like Lovecraft as horrifying as it was the fear of the unknown.
Right.
The idea of a faceless entity that knows all your secrets and can basically take over your body or subjugate you. That's utterly terrifying. But if there's like a big reveal, that's gonna kill it for me, I think. If it
right,
no matter how well it's drawn or whatever like that, like it's implausible. Can't suspend your disbelief beyond a certain point. Like Mars Attack ceased to be something you could take seriously as soon as the little green men got out. South Park made mock of the idea of the gray, big-eyed aliens because it's just preposterous.
Right.
Well,
and what's that movie, that horror movie I'm thinking of, where you don't see the creature like at all
Cloverfield.
until like the very end?
Cloverfield.
Is that the one I'm thinking of?
I'm pretty sure.
I swear there was another one that's like older.
No, there's been 3 Cloverfield movies. There's Cloverfield where it was like a Godzilla monster.
Right?
Yeah. Cloverfield, it was like a Godzilla monster. There was something Cloverfield Lane, and then there was a release of the finale of the trilogy, whatever. I think that was like a direct online release or some shit.
Wait, is that Clover?
Yeah.
The one with like the preteens, and they have like an old like 84 millimeter or 83 millimeter camera that they're filming everything with?
Pretty sure it's Cloverfield, yeah.
Is that Cloverfield?
I'm pretty sure. But right now, the idea of this alien force that knows all and is seemingly nefarious, it's utterly terrifying. Yeah. But if they give that monster a face, if they give that like an invasion aspect, it's going to go to pot.
Right.
So, I don't know. I'm not a fan of that. I'm on board for the second issue. Tentatively. I really like what they've done so far. I don't trust them to be able to keep it going and actually finish the story, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really going to hinge on that second issue, like how they take it.
Like if there's still that mystery, then yeah, you're keeping us hanging on, but at a certain point, like you've either got to they need to keep it a faceless entity, in my opinion. It needs to just be like a spiritual entity that can shapeshift and take subjugate your body or whatever. But it should have no central form. It should be able to take the form of your memories and shit like that. Basically make it one of those things from Harry Potter. Not a Dementor, but what is it, a Boggart, I believe? But basically it takes the shape and form of your worst fear.
So the it demon.
Basically. So, man, I have to look through here. The book that I picked to look at this week is the one that we're kind of divided on a little bit.
Yeah.
And I want to preface my selection, and I didn't even explain this to Ayrton off the air yet. I want to preface my selection by saying that this kind of hinges on the idea of something that I've talked about on this show before. And that is, when you hand writers like Zoe Quinn and any of these amateurs or first-timers in the industry, when you hand them a character like Spider-Man or Batman or the X-Men or Deadpool or Harley Quinn, The Flash, any of these well-developed, huge fan base having, like, if any of these characters had social media accounts, as in they were real people and ran social media accounts, they'd be in the billions. There would be 1 billion people that followed Batman. There would be 500 million people that followed somebody like Aquaman or the Flash if they were real people. So
Yeah.
we're talking about characters that are bigger than the celebrity that would be needed to depict them. That's just my opinion. Feel free to argue with me. That's what the show's about. But that's what I think. I think that, if a new writer comes on, a new artist comes on, they should have to prove themselves before they're given the honor of writing a character with that much lineage and history.
Yeah. Like the Dark Horse Presents that we highlighted on Wednesday for Brubaker.
Well, I had that conversation, and a few weeks later, what happens to come to my local comic book? It's called Bizarre Adventures, ladies and gentlemen. And it is an anthology book.
Which I almost picked this up when I was at my shop. I picked it up. I kind of did the quick flip through. Some of the art was kind of like meh. So I was like, you know what? I really don't want to spend the money on this, so I'm not going to pick it up.
Franchise characters. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. SJW Spidey.
Yeah.
It's just almost like franchise players on a football team. So yeah. Market Square of all places, like, holy shit, hi, I'll take 3 of those oranges. And what the fuck? Yeah, that's how boggins work. Anyway, Bizarre Adventures. It actually started out as a different title. I think back in the 80s. Let me verify that. I do have some information pulled up. I have some research.
Oh man, overachiever over here.
That's right. So
that's okay. I had references to Nazis experimenting with the occult for mine, so I think it balances itself out.
So in 1975, Marvel Preview Volume 1 came out, and that was an anthology book as well. And the first issue of Marvel Preview Volume 1, first story that was highlighted in it was called Man Gods from Beyond the Stars. Okay. So just remember that.
Okay.
That in issue 25 became Bizarre Adventures and ran to issue 34. So, not a big run. I believe it was 10 issues that they pulled off as Bizarre Adventures. The first being, I got the yo-yo, you got the string. And being like a Charlie's Angels cover knockoff almost. But Bizarre Adventures Volume 2 is what we're looking at today. Bizarre Adventures Volume 2, Number 1. The second cover denotes all the editors and all that good shit. Fuck those guys.
All they do is cocaine and bang hookers in their office all day. They
Now
don't actually check anything.
There are 4 stories in this, so we're only going to be able to look at like 1 page each. But I really liked this book, even though I did not like all of its content. And it's not because of the cover. The cover is mundane. but I like that they're bringing these back at least in a testing period, because I don't know who Jed Mackey is. I don't know Chris Mooneyham or Lauren Affey is. But after I've read this, God, how many pages is it? Get my physical copy real quick. Just 1 second, guys. I'm not taking the headphone off. I just have to step away from the keyboard for just a second.
Yeah, the digital said 36, so take off the covers and the introduction pages. So 28, 26,
I've
28?
got it. No. I'm talking about per story.
Oh,
So-
first story. Yeah, my bad.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, about 10 pages of story here. 9, call it even. You got an introductory page that teaches you who Ulysses Bloodstone is. He's essentially an immortal at this point, but he's a long-standing character in Marvel's history, but you rarely hear anything about him. The last time I heard anything about a Bloodstone was one of his offspring, Elsa Bloodstone, in the Secret Wars 2015, because she was one of the people trying to, I don't know, stop the Ultron monsters and the Marvel zombies beyond the wall.
That's why I recognize the name Bloodstone. Anyways, continue.
Yeah. But a lot of people don't know a whole lot about the Bloodstone storytelling. And this is a very interesting type of book. Like, this is a very 80s, 90s style book. If you would have read something like Conan, if you would have read something like Atarak, I think it was, Atriac, Arak, can't remember now. It was a really bad DC comic, but it was essentially Conan by DC. But if you liked that kind of story, then Bloodstone was kind of right up your alley. It was almost like a superhero and a barbarian together, because he's immortal and he's been endowed with the powers of this Bloodstone in his chest. But honestly, if these guys aren't working for Marvel by the time issue 5 of this book comes out, it'll be a tragedy. Because this was pretty fantastic as far as art and storytelling goes. Now, me and Ayrton disagree on the ending of this particular short story.
Yeah.
Bloodstone's overall quest.
I want to preface. I didn't hate it. I just, to me it was kind of like okay, all right, I can roll with it. I'm not happy about it, but I can go with it.
Well, the overall quest of Bloodstone in the story is to track down a sorcerer that is enslaving men, and he kills all this guy's servants that are undead, and it eventually is turned out and revealed that the sorcerer is a Skrull. And the way I explained it to Ayrton was that Marvel's always kind of held fast that everything in regards to magic in their universe could eventually be chalked up to science. And I think that's kind of a furtherization of that ideology.
And my point is the Skrulls are kind of in like the mainstream now with like the Captain Marvel movie and stuff, so it felt a little cop out-ishy to me. Like, I thought they should have used like some like the ancient, like the Vishanti and like kind of like the old magicians, like the Agamotto era, because that's kind of where this takes place.
Yeah.
Like time-wise, make it a little bit more obscure, a little bit more weird.
But one thing that it does do is it gives you an opening to have Skrull influence all the way back in the prehistoric, barbaric times or whatever. It gives you leeway to tell the story without interfering with time frame that those gods might have already been banished by the Sorcerer Supreme they're not taking any toys out of the toy box that can't be played with. I think it's a very safe choice, and it's very on message with what Marvel tries to do.
Yeah, maybe that the safe choice thing might have been kind of my issue with it. I like the weird. I like the weird and the over the top.
I get that, but I think you have to give credit where credit is due. This is an anthology book. This person doesn't get 6 issues to put the toys back in the box. They have to tell a story in 10 pages. And that kind of leads to what my main criticism of this is. I would have left your writers, artist, letters, and color credit on the front page. However, this introduction to this character and naming him Ulysses Bloodstone, for the hundreds of thousands of people that may look at this book, if they don't know who Ulysses Bloodstone is, I bet, I would be willing to bet that 90% of them are going to pass this story up and never read it just because they don't know who this character is. Or not by...
Yeah.
I'm not sharing booze. Are you drunk? Obviously not. He's asking for your booze. Danielle is. Danielle's asking for your booze. I thought Novel Bro was. No, you share with Danielle. You don't have to share with an angry Scotsman, but as a Southerner, you have to share with the lady, sir, or at least the closest thing to a lady in our chat.
All right. Fair
I don't want to insult her by giving courtesies that she doesn't want, but
but yeah, as you were saying with the introduction, I get that, but at the same time, I'm sure I've read stuff at some point that he's in, but it was kind of like, okay, so this is who this character is. This is what's going on. It was a nice little quick blurb of where kind of we're at,
right,
with what's going on. So I could see it for either direction, if that makes sense.
No, I do. It does make sense, and I do get it, but I don't think that. I think that it would be easier and better as a selling point if you put the photo and the blurb at the back after these people have read the story, and that should have been one of the particulars to the story itself, is that you're not allowed to use the main character's name until the last page. Because think about this, and Novel Bro, tell me whether I'm right or whether I'm just completely wrong here. But, and any other writers or creators in the chat, feel free. I don't mean to keep picking on him, but I know he doesn't mind telling me the right of it. He knows I'm an idiot. He'll tell me. But let's just take this into consideration for a minute.
He did show up to my overly choppy live music stream, so
I would have, but I was entirely too drunk and passed out. I did watch it, and I'm not gonna lie, I turned the volume off, but I did give it a few. It wasn't the music was bad. I just couldn't deal with the cutting in and out. It was making me very angry. But no, the way I see it is you introduce this character, right? And you put them through the story. And the old saying is, a rose by any other name will smell as sweet. So it doesn't matter who this character is as long as it works in the story you're telling. So whether it be Bloodstone, whether it be Shang-Chi, you tell your story and then you tell your story and then you introduce the character by name so that anyone that took the time to read it, because at the beginning they didn't see, oh, this is a character I don't care about, and skip it, they read the story and then got the reveal, they might say, oh, well, that was pretty good. Maybe I'm going to go look up some more Bloodstone stories, or maybe I'm going to go look up some more Shang-Chi, or maybe I'm going to put this on my pull list so that if they ever do make a book for it, I'll be sure to get it.
Yeah.
And from a marketing perspective, I think that would have been the way to go, is that, because if you read through the story and you don't like it, it doesn't matter what the name was and where it was put. You're not going to buy it. But if you never read it, because you read the name at the beginning and the little blurb and you're like, I don't know anything about this character. Have a good one, Daniel. We appreciate it, man. Thanks for stopping by.
See you, man.
But that's my whole critique there. And we kind of agree on the second story of this book, Shang-Chi. I enjoyed it for what it was. The little battle of wits and test of strength between a student and his master. And Shang-Chi basically gets his ass handed to him, which is pretty fun. But, there's not a lot that happens and nothing that affects the character in any real regard, just like with Bloodstone.
Yeah, I mean, the story wasn't, like, the premise of the story wasn't bad, but I didn't not like the execution of it at all.
Right.
Like, the action scenes were, like, clunky and awkward.
Yeah, it had that very, like, and I don't want you to think any less of me for this. You know the Ask About My Feminist Agenda Mockingbird?
Yeah.
Well, I kind of have this unwritten rule. If I'm going to mock something, I need to know it. I've read that series, I think up to the first 12 issues. It felt a lot like that. I mean, it's a comic book, man. I read a lot of bad comic books.
Fair enough.
I mean, just because I don't like something doesn't mean I can't chew through it.
Yeah.
We both at least read half of one of those Magic the Gathering comics. The Kill Bill vibes, they fall off really quick, novel bro. Don't get your hopes up on that one. This is more of an early teen. Yeah, this is. Go ahead.
I'll give it this. It started out intriguing,
right?
Like an interesting commentary on like overdevelopment and the crowdedness of cities and the herding of populations into central locations. Kind of interesting, and then it falls apart pretty quickly.
Right. But I think that's a testament of who it's written for, and I am going to show an extra page of this story, just because I want to kind of.
Einbrock will only shit on it if it's bad.
Right.
I mean, if it's wonderfully bad, like the stuff I like, then I'll enjoy the hell out of it.
Right.
If it's just bad like this, then we will. And I'm not assuming you're going to write something like this. So
this just didn't feel good to me. This felt like 2 wasted pages. Like, it's interesting, and there's a couple of little in jokes that are fun. But
yeah, the only thing I liked is this one move Wolverine does when he fights drunk. It made me chuckle. Just because I'm picturing Wolverine drunk trying to fight, which would take like 12 bottles of straight whiskey to get him drunk.
In an IV bag.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just this.
I don't like the flow chart. The flow chart is just bad.
Yeah, it's clunky. It's awkward. Like, there's nothing really to it. I don't think we can show the next page. The next page, though, there's a couple shots of them like silhouetted up on the buildings.
Yeah,
those action shots, those were kind of cool. I was like, okay, why didn't you just do this and place in those little text blurbs over something like that? It would have been way more interesting than this like pirate treasure map layout we got.
Yeah, but I mean, all in all, I think that was kind of more to the testament that it was an all ages teen book, and not, it's something that you can give to your kids, and that's one of the things that I said about this and that story and the last story. This story, not so much. This one was actually pretty intriguing. You're introduced to Dracula, which Marvel still has the right to print.
No, I think we agreed on this one. We both enjoyed this one.
Yeah.
Some of the art was a little disjointed in some parts, but
it was
overall it was a fun story.
Oh, let me go back real quick. I didn't do my due diligence.
Okay. The action does not translate well here. No fluid segmentation of their movements. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Sebastian Gerner is the writer. Francisco Mana is the artist. Andy Troy is the color artist, and VC Joe Caramanga is the letterer on this. The artwork's really good, I think, in this book. And this reminds me of the old school Marvel style. Like we were talking about that earlier today. This reminds me of the classic Marvel style. And I really like that about it.
Except with less square fingers.
Well, that was Kirby style. But
I attribute I equate the two. I mean, can you blame me?
Yeah, because that takes Ramita Senior and Itko and all the other good artists out of there.
Yeah,
they have a Dracula story in here, and Dracula is in love with Helsing's daughter, essentially. They both introduce themselves to one another under fake names, and it's found out, and then they team up after vowing not to kill one another that night to take out some werewolves that were in a band together. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And
yeah, like I said, this is the kind of weird and fun that I like. Dracula and Van Helsing's daughter fighting a literal musical band of werewolves. Like, that's fun. It's weird.
But
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, this was really well done, I think. And this was also fairly all ages. I mean, there was some violence, but there was not a lot of gore. I don't think there was any major disturbing blood spilling scenes or anything. There might have been some blood splatter or something, but there wasn't anything traumatizing in this story, I don't think. The writers on this were Becky Cloonan, Michael Conrad, Becky Cloonan, and art. So she is co-creator in both writing and art.
Which the art looked like it was created by somebody named Becky.
The art's not bad. I like the art.
No, it's not. It's not bad. I had a friend back in high school whose name was Becky, and she was like the deviant art, goth girl kind of stuff. She was a good artist. Don't get me wrong, but she kind of drew kind of that Tim Burton-y kind of really dark, weird sort of art style. Right. So that it reminded me of high school. That's all.
Lee Lothridge on color and VC's Joe Caramanga on letters again. So all in all, we're 2 for 4, and we haven't looked at the fourth yet. However, that's kind of where it falls apart.
I would say 1.5 for me, but
yeah, well, it's okay to be wrong, Aiden. I don't fire people for being wrong. Now, then we get to the book that I absolutely just did not like. John Adams on writing, A.A. Ron Conley on art, John Roche on color, and Joe Caramagna on letters again. This is Black Goliath.
This
yeah.
Real quick, this made me want to take a shot at Danielle's bleach that she brought for everybody.
Yeah, this is almost as bad as the pillow that we brought up earlier. I won't bring it back up to remind you guys, but you've got Black Goliath, and he's on a morning show giving an interview and talking about how PIM particles work, and he's just like, science. And
talking about him like the worst possible explanation of PIM particles.
Right,
he's supposed to be like a physicist.
Right. So this just feels really out of place. The art feels really childish. He looks like a wrestler. Like he looks like a lucha libre wrestler.
I'm sorry, but the art's just horrible.
Yeah. It's very good. It would be very good for like an exaggerated kids book, I think.
Yeah.
Because it has that style. It feels like with
like a Spider-Man. It would work better in that context.
Well, I mean, you know what this really reminds me of?
Like a kid's Spider-Man.
You remember that cartoon show Dexter's Laboratory that used to have like little mini shorts in it? And one of the shorts was the superhero team. Yeah, the superhero team. This reminds me of the Purple Hulk.
Yeah, I see that.
But
I mean, like,
this was
just so much about this.
This was just the worst.
Like, the shading on his boots. Like, what the hell is that?
Right. Where's that? Where's that shadow being cast from? But no, and I'm not.
Anyways.
I'm not going to critique, small art things like that. I think that this was just poorly executed. I think that they needed to have another character there. Maybe an even lesser known character, or a character who's known for being, ridiculous.
Like Scott Lang.
Or Obnoxio the Clown.
Well, I meant if they wanted to use that PIM particle type thing, that weird thing they do.
Yeah, you use Erica Grady or Scott Lang. Yeah.
Yeah, would have been a much better choice for this than Black Goliath, who's supposed to be a physicist.
Yeah, he's still supposed to be top 10 and smartest people in the Marvel Universe.
Right.
But
like, he figured out how to use PIM particles. Like, he's I don't know, it just, the characterization just felt so off.
But all in all, though, even though this last part of the book really kind of lowered the quality of the book itself.
Can we pull up that bit? I lost count of where we're at with pages.
Yeah, we can.
The bit with the other universe.
Yeah. Yeah, just tell me which one you're talking about.
It doesn't really matter.
There we go.
The 2 pages.
That the first set's the best.
Yeah.
Now, once you get to this page, I feel some Rocco's Modern Life. Almost.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, but like, I don't understand the point of this. Like, what are they say or show? And since when do PIM particles interact with another dimension? I don't remember that being part of the lore of them.
Yeah.
I thought
if you're borrowing mass from somewhere. No, you're borrowing mass from somewhere else. Well, the quantum realm is an inhabited realm.
Yeah, I guess.
But again, this is very obviously an all ages
physics to shrink and expand the distance of molecules between each other, and that's how PIM particles worked.
Well, this is very obviously an all ages book, an all ages story. I think that was something that all of them kind of had to adhere to. But
yeah,
I think that this book particularly, it just missed its mark. But it's only like 4 or 5 pages. There's a dick joke in here.
Which felt really out of place.
Yeah.
That felt more like a Homelander from The Boys would say.
Right. But
Or maybe the D.
even though I didn't really find anything redeeming in regards to the story in this book, or in this particular couple of pages, the idea that Marvel's putting out an anthology and it feels like they're actually making their new writers and artists, put something out before they give them a book. Maybe feel where their strengths and weaknesses are. Maybe see who they can work together with for long periods of time without needing to be switched up every 3 to 6 weeks. I think it's getting back to a status quo in comic books that we might in the future be able to start kind of giving back some of that trust that we've lost over the time.
Yeah, which I get, and I do appreciate the effort. Just should have picked stuff to put in there.
Well, I think for what it was, it was well executed. I think that it was an attempt to maybe stir up some interest in old characters.
Yeah.
It was an attempt to
well executed. I would say it was a valiant effort.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't
want to pick up Shang-Chi or Black Goliath if they come out from reading these.
Well, I don't think those are marketed towards you, though. Like I said, I think both of those are all ages, young adult books. I think the book that was marketed to our demographic was the one that we both liked up to a certain degree, and that was the Bloodstone book.
Yeah.
Who gave Trisha Tanaka heroin? I plead the fifth novel, bro. I will not criminally, I will not perjure myself, incriminate myself, any of those things. But, the idea of anthologies coming back out and you're using some of those characters that are in the toy box that don't see a lot of love, I like that. Even if I don't like all the stories, I like the concept. I want this thing to do well. I want these anthology books to keep going because I want new talent to actually have somewhere where they can flex their muscles and find their best match before they're given a book that they deserve. I'm not saying that anybody, I don't care if they're an SJW, I don't care if they're, a homosexual or straight or trans
or even a woman.
I don't know. I might have to draw the line at one. I'm just kidding. I don't care what background these creators come from. I just want them to have the same level of respect for the character that someone that was taking it over for the original creator might have.
Right. And yeah, I agree with you there. The premise behind doing this, I can get behind.
I just hope they use this research and this market information for greater good. I hope that Joe Quesada and C.B. Cebulski are reading each one of these issues going, you know what? So-and-so's not going to be writing Thor after so much longer. Let's get this guy that did this Bloodstone book on there. Yeah. And, we've got an all-ages female book. This coming out. Let's get the Shang-Chi artist on there, and let's get the writer from, the Dracula book on there, because they seem to be able to weave up a romance title with action and everything like that. I think that if they could use it for what anthologies used to mean to be for, then it'll do well.
Yeah, and I do agree that the effort is good and the premise, and it's a good starting point. The actual stories that were chosen could have been better.
Well, it's an issue for an issue 1. I'll give you that. I would have much rather have seen I think the Bloodstone story should have stayed. I think that was the highlight of the book.
It wasn't bad. I just didn't like the scroll thing at the end. That was
maybe instead of
everything else. I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
I just
maybe instead of Shang-Chi, you roll back around and you give us Luke Cage who we haven't seen in a individual comic in a while.
Yeah. Yeah, Luke Cage.
You give us Luke Cage
would have been a good one for a morning talk show interview.
Well, no, you give us Luke Cage at the office avoiding answering the telephone for like 4 pages.
Okay.
And that's going to be funny as shit.
Yeah.
You know, at the Hero for Hire office, and he just doesn't want to pick up the phone. Like, he keeps yelling for someone else to answer it, or, you know, something, but...
Yeah, Danny Rand is like, you know, watching a movie, eating popcorn.
Can't hear him
up too loud and doesn't hear the phone ringing. Yeah.
Right. You know, you give us a... I don't know... one of the many spider people that still exist in the Marvel Universe. You give us a book on one of them.
Like, bring back Jessica Drew. Has she been in anything recently?
I think she died at some point.
Did she?
I think she was a Skrull or something, maybe.
Yeah, because Spider-Woman, she was cool. I liked her.
Yeah, but now we have Spider-Gwen, Ayrton.
Oh, yes. My mistake. How could I forget such a demographic crossing character where no one's actually read the books that she's in? They just buy the merchandise.
Yeah, she was a Skrull during Civil War. So yeah, she was a Skrull during Secret Invasion, I think is what he means. Good story.
Yeah.
We'll have to review the Skrull Kill Crew one day. That's there's a black dude and a Nazi on that team, like a skinhead, and they're united in their hatred of Skrulls.
Hey, if it works, it works.
I'm not even joking. But
yeah, overall, the idea and the premise is good. I like that. Just not really a fan of the overall execution of this particular issue.
And that's fine. And you know, maybe these writers will have to do their own independent work before they get a spot at Marvel, because people don't like their stories.
Yeah.
But you know, one thing that I didn't see in this that I think should have been there, a way for people that read it to send in or give opinions or whatever, a way to directly contact Marvel and vote for your favorite story, maybe your favorite art,
your
favorite combination of both, like which ones you liked that worked well together. Because I think my favorite art, honestly, was Shang-Chi, because it reminds me so much of the old Marvel house style. But my favorite combination, obviously, was going to be Bloodstone, as would be my favorite story.
Right. And in today's day and age, you know, it's...
Oh, Jessica Drew is still around. She was in Spider-Geddon. I didn't get around to Spider-Geddon. I read Spider-Verse, but... It was all weird. But we are almost a half an hour over budget, good sir.
Yeah, I just noticed that.
And time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, it seems like our chat's dwindling down a bit too.
Oh well, you know, we have a thing. Nick Rackets might have gone live. Who knows? I definitely appreciate everybody that did come out. You know, if you stayed the whole time.
The list is starting to get a bit long to name everybody off.
That's a good problem to have.
It is.
So
we should start with our patrons, right?
Absolutely. We've got pull up the accurate list. We've got Inbreck, we've got Captain Weeb, at SJW Spidey, all on the Patreon. We definitely appreciate you guys. We appreciate everyone else too.
Thank you guys so much. It's I'm gonna get a quick little
get it, man.
Sentimentality here. the fact that you guys jumped on that is just amazing to me. That you guys are willingly going on there and donating that you absolutely do not have to do. That really means a lot. It's just incredible that
What
you guys are
Ayrton,
doing that. I just want to say thank you from me personally, because I can't speak for church because I'll get fired.
from both of us, you're going to get fired anyway. But no, from both of us, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Thank you so much. It really is incredible.
I think what Ayrton's really trying to say is that he spent all this time and effort learning how to play the guitar, and he never imagined that people would pay money to just listen to him talk to a drunk redneck.
That's as far as the list of things I wanted to be growing up, it was like astronaut, race car driver, like adventurer, like Indiana Jones, archaeologist, rock star. Talking on the internet to a drunk redneck was probably like 50th on the list.
Yeah, 75th, 50th, whatever.
Right.
But no, we definitely do appreciate it. But also shout out to Danielle, to Matt Christie, to Novel Bro, to Daniel. Let's see, we already gave Captain Weeb again. Why not? Let's see.
Yeah.
I'm missing.
Novel.
I'm missing.
Matt Christie.
I already said those guys. I'm not forgetting them. Knock.
Yeah.
Got Daniel. My chat only goes up so far. Who is the Captain's Log? Whoever that was. Definitely it wasn't Captain Weeb.
Whoever you were, you're awesome.
But we definitely.
I'm calling you the real MVP for this stream.
That's right. But we definitely appreciate you guys coming in and listening. Matt Christie, to answer your question, next stream tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern. What are we going to talk about on that show?
Alan Moore.
Right. We got to figure out what we're going to do about Alan Moore.
Yeah, the beginning of our Alan Moore showcase. So
right.
I need to go buy some LSD tomorrow and some absinthe.
You don't already have yours?
Spirit of the show.
I take mine, but you don't already have yours? I was just going to double my doses. I already take both those things for the show.
Well, I'm out, so I need to go get more.
Captain's Log. I think Captain's Log is, I believe that's Captain Weeb's alt account. I mean, friend. But I could be wrong. I've been wrong about everything else all the time. But yeah, we'll be covering Alan Moore tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard. It is almost 12:30 now, so if I do go live,
I will not be there because I have to get up to play tomorrow. So
yeah, Danielle apparently knows a guy for the hallucinogenic.
I know several, but I appreciate it.
Hit me up after the stream, Ayrton. Anyway. No, seriously, you got to hit me up after the stream. We got to noodle out what we're looking at Alan Moore tomorrow, because some of his stuff, it takes a little while to chew through. You're going to need at least a couple hours. If anybody wants to suggest some Alan Moore stuff in the Discord, let me know, and I will make a final choice in the morrow. We're thinking about League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Volume 1.
Yeah.
As the first, but I'm warning you, it's nothing like the movie.
Oh, I assume so, but that's okay.
So,
because I'm still gonna read in Sean Connery's voice. So
Danielle's gonna start making the Jello bleach shots for tomorrow's show. She's the best. But anyway, without further ado and delay, I appreciate all you guys, and I will see you again tomorrow night.
Good night, everybody.